Good afternoon, Aggies. Welcome back to our weekly Monday press conference. North Carolina A&T is coming off a 45-25 loss down at South Carolina State on Saturday. This week, they head up to Richmond, Virginia for a CAA game against the Richmond Spiders. Some good news came out of our game on Saturday. Justin Fomby threw for 3 touchdowns on Saturday. It's the first time that's happened in our program in 3 years, so congratulations to him. Jakari Cwell caught 2 touchdown passes. That's the first time that's happened in our program in 2 years. Kicker Andrew Brown is 9 for 10 in field goals this season. That's a 90% percentile. That leads the conference, and that's 9th in the nation. Our special guest this week is our wide receiver, Jakari Cwell. Leads our team in targets with 35. And we also have our safety, David Laney, with us. But before we talk to them, let's talk to our head coach, Mr. Vincent Brown.
Aggie Pride. Aggie Pride. Before I get into this past weekend's game, I'd like to make sure we pay homage to those who lost their lives and who were impacted by Hurricane Helene this weekend. There are a lot of people significantly impacted by the storm. And, you know, in the world that we operate in, it is literally all about the game. And sometimes we lose sight of the human factor. So we'd like to remain prayerful for those that were impacted by the storm. Obviously, the game didn't go the way we anticipated it. We did not have the team that went to Orangeburg prepared well enough to win the game, to play a complete game. I thought there were some really positive things to come out of it. But as I said to the team at the end of the game in the locker room, that working hard, preparing hard, going the extra mile doesn't guarantee you success. Doesn't mean you're going to win the football game. But if you don't do those things, you stand no chance of winning the football game. And that we just need to remain focused on the process. And then the outcome will come when we start doing the things necessary in order to eliminate what causes you to lose games. Defensively, we gave up way too many explosive plays. Offensively and special teams, we turned the ball over 4 times, 3 of which we lost. We missed opportunities in terms of having some explosive play passes. But there are some bright parts to it. We got a running game going with Cameron Dalrymple, who stepped in some very challenging circumstances and ran the ball really well. I think he averaged over 8 yards a carry. As Brian mentioned, Justin Fomby threw 3 touchdown passes. Jakari caught 2. Anthony Rucker caught his first touchdown pass of the season. Defensively, we were able to generate some pressure. We got 3 sacks. I think we had 5 or 6 TFLs, 3 takeaways. But when you add it all up, you have to be able to play complementary football. And that means not turning the ball over offensively and in the kicking game. And then defensively, taking the ball away and making sure that we give the offense the extra possessions needed to score. We've dealt with some injuries, no excuse, because we have a next man up mentality. So whomever it is that we have available to play the game, it is our job as the coaching staff to get those players prepared and put them in the best position to have success on Saturday. The other thing that I shared with our team at the end of the game is that everything that we set out for outside of beating Central is still in front of us. The CAA is still in front of us. We get a chance to go on the road at Richmond and play a conference game. And then we have a slate of conference games following that will allow us to have an opportunity to compete for a conference title towards the end of the season. And so all those things are still attainable. They're still in front of us. We just have to focus on doing the things necessary to win the very next game, which is the Richmond game coming up. So with that, I'll open the floor for any questions.
Coach, I see your game notes this week says Kevin's likely out for the season. Can you give us an update on him?
Yeah, so I don't anticipate seeing Kevin the remainder of the season. Wesley Graves will not play the rest of this season, and there's a chance that Kenji may not be available the rest of this season. So we're waiting for an update on him as well.
Is Graves injury related, or is that like him just wanting to take a red shirt?
No, he's injured.
He's injured.
Yeah.
Has there been any athletes come up to you and just talk about, because that's happening now in college football? Have you encountered that this roster?
No, I have not had any player to come up and say, "Hey, coach, I'm looking to preserve my red shirt. I'm going to shut it down." I think all of our kids that are available that want to play still understand there's a lot of football in front of us. And, they've worked extremely hard to get to this point, some of which, some of whom could have graduated and some decided to come back and are giving us meaningful snaps. And so, again, we're just going to work. And I'm excited about the future of our program because of the foundation of the things that we're trying to put in place now.
Technically, would this qualify each of those guys for a medical red shirt versus a regular red shirt? Is that any difference?
Yeah. Based on the fact that they haven't played 4 games, both of those options are on the table for them.
I know you have the next man up mentality, but when you have so many key guys from your offense from the beginning of the season out, how does that change things though?
I mean, I don't know very many programs that can withstand losing as many players that bring the production that the guys that have been out brought. But like I said, we've had kids to step up. Cameron Dalrymple stepped up and had a very nice game for us. Talked about the production with Jakari. Justin Formby stepped in and did a very nice job for us. And we have complete confidence in Justin's ability to lead the team. We still have enough playmakers on offense to score. It's our job as the coaching staff to make sure we're putting the schemes in place to take advantage of the talent that we do have.
Speaking of like next man up, could you estimate how many people in the two deep depth chart are walk-ons or previously walk-ons? Can you estimate how many is that?
There are probably 8 players that are in the 2 deep, both sides of the ball, that came here as non-scholarship players.
Is that unique, or they usually how things happen in your experience?
No, I mean it's you recruit young men, even the recruited walk-ons. You recruit the scholarship caliber players with the mindset that they're going to come in and improve the talent on your team. But we all know that it's a very challenging game. Kids get hurt, and so you just have to have the next man up mentality and put the kids that you do have available in the best position to be able to go out and have success on Saturdays.
Coach, with 2 different quarterback styles play with Kevin White and Justin Formby, how will you play to Formby's strengths since he's more of a passer, a pocket passer?
Yeah, so we talk all the time about building our schemes around the talents of the players that we have, and I think Justin doesn't bring the running ability that Kevin has, but I think he does a nice job of being able to throw the ball down the field, which was evidenced by the 3 touchdowns we had on Saturday. And we just have to continue to find ways to create some explosive pass opportunities for our offense.
Talking about all the moving parts on your offense, but on defense, we've said for I think 3 straight weeks now about the explosive plays that they've been giving up. Just how do we correct that going into this Saturday?
Yeah, it's our Achilles heel right now. We've given up over 500 yards 3 straight weeks, and that's unacceptable. And you can't blame it all on youth. There's some young guys playing, but part of it is some of the things that we're doing. And so we've taken a deep dive at what are the things that we need to do schematically and from a technique standpoint to allow our players to have better success on defense. And we're working on those things right now.
Coach, you came here as a defense coordinator, William & Mary, proud, defensive background. You were a defensive guy. Has there been any consideration to kind of step in more with the defense and maybe even take the headset and start calling plays?
Yeah, no, I have complete confidence in our defensive coordinator. I will spend time with both sides of the ball, and we always meet and talk about here are the things that we need to be able to do in order to win the game. Defensively, we need to do X, Y, Z. Offensively, we need to do X, Y, Z. So I do spend time with both sides of the ball. Part of it is making sure that we're constantly evaluating not only what we're doing, but how we're teaching it and when we're calling it during the course of the games. And so, it's a very challenging environment to be in when you're not winning. Everything is magnified, but I have complete confidence in our coaching staff and their ability to get our kids in the right position.
How different is this current scheme from the one you actually coordinated for William & Mary?
It's slightly different. So we always try to build things around the talent that we have. And, it took us a couple of years at William & Mary before we had the right pieces in place in order to play championship quality football. And so we're taking the pieces that we have and trying our best to build everything around the skill set of our kids here.
Coach Richmond, I know you've played a tough schedule so far, but this will be the first team ranked in the top 25 in the FCS. In terms of winning this game, what are the things that you believe you need to see from the Aggies to pull off an upset here?
Yeah, so, hey, we got to score more points offensively. And that's been a recurring theme the last several weeks. We have to create creative ways to score. And then defensively, we got to stop giving up explosive play passes. Those are the things that are allowing the offenses to move the ball down into scoring territory. And we haven't had a lot of great success in red zone defense thus far. So eliminating the explosive play passes defensively and finding a way to score more points offensively is always a recipe for winning football.
And Richmond so far this season, upper tier in terms of third down and fourth down conversion rate. What are the things that you see on tape that have made them so effective and challenging in terms of third and fourth downs?
Yeah, so they're very efficient on first and second down, so they keep themselves out of third and long situations offensively. And then defensively, they do a really good job of getting after the quarterback. Their defensive line plays with high energy, so they don't have to blitz a lot. They do a really good job of rushing the passer. They have a system that Coach Huesman has run since he's been there. It's the same system he ran when I was part of the staff back in, 2008. And so the kids know it. They know it inside and out, and they do a very good job of executing it.
You mentioned the familiarity with the staff there. How do you describe that relationship and the connection that you have with that staff?
The relationship is a very positive one. I got great respect for Russ Huesman. Like I said, he was the defensive coordinator at Richmond when we won the national championship. There are a lot of ties to our program. Our tight end coach, Stephen Barnett, played wide receiver there. I worked there. Coach Bankins, our special teams coordinator and running back coach, worked there. So there's a lot of respect for what they do and how they've built their program. But with that being said, every week it's a new opportunity for us to right the ship. And so that's what our focus is right now.
Coach, for the second week in a row, in the second half, you got hit by a lot of big plays back to back to back. When that happens, is there anything a coach can do, like to slow the momentum? Like in basketball, you call it a TV timeout. The other team scores a lot. What can a football coach do when that momentum starts hitting the other way?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do is to try to address it through your play calling. Hey, we've given up 2 back-to-back explosive plays. Let's play true zone coverage, keep the ball in front of us and make them march the ball down the field. Or offensively, we need to do something to change the momentum. If they've hit our defense with a couple of explosive play passes, we need to have in our arsenal of plays something to try to regain that momentum.
I know early South Carolina State got the lead. A&T got it in the second half and then gave it up. I mean, what did the comeback teach you about your team, and what did losing the lead teach you about your team late?
Well, we want to build a mindset of resiliency. And normally, I talk to the captains pregame. I say, hey, if we win the coin toss, we're going to defer because I want the offense to have the ball at the beginning of the second half. This time, I said, we're going to take the ball. I want to establish a mindset. We're going to take the ball, march it down the field, and score. And defensively, we're going to have to go out to start the second half and stop them, which we did. We stopped them defensively. Offense took the ball, marched the ball down the field, and scored. Up until about 6.5, 7 minutes left in the third quarter, it's a tie game, 17-17. And within a matter of about 6 or 7 minutes between turnovers, field position, they get 2 scores. And so now they're up 2 scores. And then you fast forward to the fourth quarter, late in the game, they add another couple of scores. And so the game really looks a lot more lopsided than it really was for 3/4 of the game.
Tackling again seems to be an issue. What steps have you been taking to address that?
Yes, so we work on tackling all the time. We've increased the amount of drills. We do tackling circuits. We tackle as a team, special teams. We're trying to make sure we put the players in position to not have those tackles be so challenging. When the safeties have to come down, being able to close the space at the line of scrimmage to be able to get the backs cut down. But part of it is making sure from a technique standpoint that everyone's doing their job, making sure you're remaining in your gaps so that you're pushing the ball east and west and not letting the ball run downhill on us.
Coach, you said you want to have your team not beat itself. Do you think they're doing more of that than anything else at this point?
Well, I mean, if you look at the way the last several games have unfolded, we've done the things that cause you to lose games, and we talk about it. It's built into our DNA of mental mistakes, penalties, and turnovers. And even Saturday, there were several times where we got them into third down situations. We jump off sides, quarterback raises up and throws the ball down the field, free play for them, first down, and another one touchdown. So, we have to eliminate those things in order to have a chance to win.
And also in that end, what about passes over the middle? It seems like you're particularly susceptible to passes over the middle. How would you?
Yeah, I mean, you look at what happened Saturday, several deep shots into the middle of the field. Part of it is lack of maybe the way we've taught the coverage. Part of it is execution. And so we look at what needs to be fixed and how to fix it. And so that's where our focus is right now.
Coach, I'm looking at reports about the team encountering some logistical issues caused the storm. They said the hotel might not have power and some other issues. Can you speak on that and how that affect the team?
Yeah, our hotel was affected by the storm. There's literally no power except for in the main part of the hotel. I don't think it had a significant impact on our ability to prepare to win the game. There are other teams that were stranded on the side of the road because of the storm. So, although our situation wasn't ideal, it wasn't as bad as it could have been for some other people.
And right now, outside of always all the injuries, what do you think is the biggest issue plaguing this program?
I think it's a combination of factors. Continuity is a key part of developing a program, building a program. If you look at the best programs in our conference, the staffs have been in place, the players have been in place within those programs for years. And if you look at ours, we've added a lot of new faces just in the past year, learning how to play together, how to finish together, and for us as a staff, how to make sure we're putting our players in the best possible position to succeed.
Coach, I know you mentioned Fonby being a leader of this team now. Is he the for sure starter at quarterback going forward?
He will be the starter this week for sure.
So, like, on injuries, Ty Williams is injured for him.
Ty Williams is out for the season.
Off the season.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. First, we're going to bring up our safety. David Laney had a career high 9 tackles on Saturday. So come on up, David. He's going to give us an opening statement, and then the floor is open for questions.
Thank you, Brock. Again, just want to touch on what Coach Brown was talking about. Prayers to everybody that was affected with the hurricane. Just want to reach out to anybody and make sure that everybody's okay with that. And just want to open it up with any questions.
David, on the defensive side of the ball, you guys are giving up a lot of explosive plays, as Coach mentioned. Just what are you kind of telling the guys after those plays to make sure it's not a domino effect?
Yeah, so with all the explosive plays that happened throughout the game, we just tell our guys to really hone in on the moment, really just focus on the next play, and really just stepping into that role that we have within our system type. So everybody does their 1/11th, and in the end, we'll get the result that we want to get.
When you have a start to the season that you weren't hoping for, how does the mindset in the locker room shift, and just how are you guys working on getting that mindset right going into your full slate of conference games?
Yes, it can be quite frustrating throughout. You know, nobody wants to be 1-4. Nobody wants to give up however many points we've given up at this point in time. But as long as we all stick together, like Coach Brown says, we all can flip this thing around for good.
I know a talented wide receiver group for Richmond. I don't know if you've been able to get into film yet, but in terms of the keys to stopping their passing attack, what do you believe will be the biggest, factors in that?
Really just, again, honing in on the small details. Really just like with zone eyes, keeping your eyes on your work, expanding with your work, and small details like that. I mean, nobody wants to give up explosive plays. Nobody wants to have 300, 400, however many passing yards on a defense as a whole. So, I mean, as long as we focus in on what we have to do and making sure that we stay the course and play as a team and keeping our brothers back, I don't think there's anything that can stop us.
But Ty Williams out, how does that really affect the defense? Because he's a big part on the back end. How does that affect the defense with the heavy passing game from Richmond coming up?
Yeah, I mean, with him being out, like Coach says, I mean, it's just always that next man mentality. I've had to really step in and really be that leader for the defense, the defensive backs as well. So with Ty being out, I mean, it's just really honing in on what we have to do as a whole. Because, I mean, people go down all the time, like Coach Brown said. People go down all the time. So we really just got to focus in on the next man in and knowing that the next man in knows what he has.
David, you transferred from East Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Why did you decide to come to A&T?
A&T was home for me. Like, when I took my visit here, I really love the culture here. The brotherhood that we have established here is really strong, and I really love my guys. Like, really love the offense, the defense, everybody. So I'm really glad that everybody took me in with open arms and loving arms. And again, A&T was really just like a really big part of my journey, and I really like being here and everything about it.
How difficult it was to defense that quarterback on Saturday?
I wouldn't say that it was very difficult because, I mean, as you think, like, every team that we face is going to have a good quarterback. Every team that we go against is going to have good players. So, I mean, it's really not the simple fact that he's a really good player. It's really just us and fixing the small, minor details that we have, like our eyes, alignment, and little stuff like that.
For those that haven't seen you play, just describe your style and the ways you contribute to this team.
Yeah, so I play free safety. I'm really in the back, and I really command the defense for real, for real. We make the calls, we make the adjustments, and I really would say that I'm a ball hog. Try and go get the ball, try and knock the ball out anytime I get. This past week, having the most tackles, I mean, I was really just trying to go out there and really show these boys that I really care for this team and really want to win as a team.
How would you describe maybe what your passions are outside of football, maybe what you like to do in the community here?
Really outside of the community, it's just I really just be around with like the team for real. Really just team bonding because I know like throughout all this it can get quite hard for everybody to like really focus in and get all together as one. So outside of this, I try and like bring everybody together, like have little stuff on the side without the coaches and things like that, so we can all like be as one instead of it being just like we're just a team because the coaches are here. We want to be a team outside of everything.
The defense forced 3 turnovers. How can y'all continue to force more turnovers throughout the season and upcoming against Richmond?
Yeah, so I definitely applaud our guys for coming up with 3 turnovers. We definitely could have had 4 as well, but going in, we really just focusing on the small details, going up and getting the ball whenever it's in the air because the ball is ours whenever it's in the air. And, again, just generating some kind of turnovers, knocking the ball out, whatever it is need be.
I guess how were you first exposed to football? How did you kind of build a passion for it?
My pops, he put me in football when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I just took off ever since then. Like, the game has been very good to me and my family. It has given us a great opportunity to go to different places, see different places, and really it's just a love for the game.
What are maybe the biggest things that you love about football, the biggest benefits you feel like you've seen it impact your life?
I would say that it really just has impacted me as a whole man because, like, we have to face so much adversity throughout football, whether it be, like, a loss or whether it be an injury, just like we talked about teammates being out for the season. Like, I talk to them boys all the time. It doesn't really matter that you out for the season. Just keep your head on straight. But, like, in all, I can say football has really done a lot for me, and I'm definitely passionate about football.
In terms of Richmond, being the guy that leads things from the back end, what are the keys you see in terms of deciphering the power run game versus their passing attack over the top?
Well, we have to really go into detail more about like the keys of what we're going to see, whether it's run or pass. We know that they have a good run game. We know that they have explosive players on offense that can get the ball in their hands. So we really just got to get them on the ground. Like Coach said, that we have to focus on our tackling. Our tackling has been quite bad at times. So focusing in on that and making that better, I feel like we can go in with the fighting mentality that we can really win.
Thank you, David. Great job.
Thank you.
Our next player is Jakari Cwell, leads our team in total targets with 35. Also had 2 touchdown receptions on Saturday. Please come on up, Jakari Cwell.
How everybody doing today? Hope everybody got everything good going on with the hurricane. Make sure you're checking on your loved ones. And yeah, so prayers up for that. But I'd like to open it up with any questions.
Jakari, what have you seen of Justin kind of stepping into that starting role moving forward as far as growth?
So stepping into the role, he always, we had the QB battle going on since camp. We knew when he got here that it was going to be a battle, and he did a good job of stepping into a leadership role, being there for all the guys, and just being that older guy to look to for like advice or anything like that. And even in the game plan, he gonna be the one to know it.
How much at this point in the season is it about looking inward, fixing things like limiting the fumbles, things like that?
Yeah, we take pride in that. We trying to limit all the negatives that go on. Even with all the negatives that go on, we trying to look forward to look past that. With everything that goes on, it's just we gotta find a way to, when adversity strikes, we gotta find a way to look past it and just next play, just move on to the next play.
In terms of your emergence this week, what do you think was it that kind of made you effective against South Carolina State in particular?
Coach Marsh, I would say Coach Marsh did a good job of game planning for me, like just getting plays to where I can get the ball and get moving. And just with Fonby, just building that connection with him throughout the week, the practice week, just make sure I'm the guy that he looks to if something going bad, like making sure he confident in me and my ability, and just being that guy for him.
For those that haven't seen you play, how do you describe your style as a receiver, kind of your skill set at the position?
Well, I'm a quicker type receiver. I'm a deep threat. I feel like I can take the top off the defense, but at the same time, I can nickel and dime you as well. I have good routes. I'm clean out of my breaks for the most part, and also I can be physical.
So Jakari, you were here when A&T was in the MEAC. Were you here that first year?
No, sir.
Or you just played in the CAA?
We were when I first got here, we were in the Big South. Yes.
Have you seen a difference in the style of play? I know you haven't played a lot of CAA games. You played last year and you played Delaware this year. So the big difference in the style of play between the MEAC, you said you didn't experience the MEAC, so from what you've heard or known or experienced.
Okay, so from what I've seen, like as far as the Big South, from what I've seen, CAA is a little faster. Bigger teams. I say, yeah. That's about it, size-wise, and limiting mistakes. That's a lot of CAA teams. That's something they do good at. They limit their mistakes. It's a lot of disciplined teams in the CAA. That's the biggest thing, discipline.
How are you guys making sure mentally in the locker room you guys are in a good headspace leading into this next part of your season?
We make sure the biggest thing in the locker room is just staying positive. We're looking at all the guys with all the injuries that's going on. We just got to make sure that everybody on the right page, doing the right thing, and everybody just focusing on their job.
What would you say was the attitude of the team? She talked about the mental aspect. What was the attitude of being that you were tied with South Carolina State?
Before or after the game?
Yeah, I'm saying in the course of the game, going from tied to being down like you were. What would you say happened that caused that flip?
None really happened. Adversity, like I was saying earlier, we had the turnovers that went on throughout the course of the game. But for the most part, the team was positive about everything that happened. We still had some things that went bad, but for the most part, the biggest thing was just staying positive next play, just always believing we were still in the game. And the biggest thing we could take away from that is just keeping that same positive mindset no matter what happens.
How would you summarize your journey, both individually and from a team perspective at A&T so far?
Well, right now we 1-4. It ain't really what you want it to be, but I'd enjoy I've enjoyed my experience here at A&T. Shoot, it's a winning program. We trying to get it back to that.
Great job, Jakari. Before we start lunch, I just want to send out a reminder that we will not be here next week. We will not have a press conference. We have a bye week next week, but we will be back on October 14th for our press conference right before the greatest homecoming on earth. So look forward to seeing you back there. But of course, as always, go back, get you some lunch, and then we'll get set up for our radio show. Thank you.
Rally this Saturday.